This is my Lombardi trophy. Because today... Oh, that's right. Today, we're doing the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. It's right after the Rams won, so I am wearing the same clothes. I threw a jersey and a different hat on to celebrate the Seahawks Super Bowl. Super Bowl patch, Super Bowl hat. Obviously not Seahawks, but yeah, let's get into it. That's your little fit check. Of course, this is a 3-4 base defense, and I just want to point out right now, Leonard Williams last year called that he was going to win the Super Bowl. He said, "I'm going to leave Dallas and win the Super Bowl with another team," and you know what? It worked out. Speaking of Leonard Williams, is he old as time? Yes, but he is still a very good edge rusher. Like, I believe he is going into your age 37 season. No, 32. He's way younger than I thought he was. But he is very old. And he had a very serviceable year last year. I know he came over. Of course, they're on a base 3-4 defense. And of course, first you're looking at Leonard Williams, who's a very good defensive end. I believe he is 32. But, I mean, looking at him, stat-wise and film-wise, very good for his age. Very serviceable. This is a guy that most NFL teams would kill to have, especially as the mentor piece. Because next to him, you got Jaron Reed, who is another veteran who is actually 33 and is older than him, who is not necessarily the best defensive tackle, but he's definitely good. He's not bad by any means. He's definitely slower than he was. He needs to stay healthy. I know he only missed, I believe it was 5 games, including playoffs. But yeah. And then, of course, the real bread and butter, the right defensive end, Byron Murphy II. Now, this is a guy whose stats really don't pop off. And again, he's going into only his 3rd year. But on film last year, dang, he looked dang good. Like, he's still young, so, like, good compared to young players. But yeah, this is a guy that I really do think could break out this year and maybe even go for 10 sacks. He is a defensive tackle. So, I mean, 10 sacks may be a little high, but 7.5 is great. He only had 7. Is great for a defensive tackle. Maybe a weak side linebacker, DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, I would give this guy credit. He called his shot last year. He left the Cowboys and said, "I'm going to go win a Super Bowl. I think Dallas isn't ready for him." Dang, he was right. Now, this guy was honestly pretty good for Seattle last year. Now, again, nothing eye-popping, but again, on film, like, this guy just does a lot. And obviously, I believe he had the game where he had 2 defensive touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was him. Let me take a look. Does not. Maybe not. Okay. But still, I mean, this is a guy that was good last year for you. He's good at creating pressure and getting to the quarterback, which is his main job, getting to the quarterback. So then your left inside linebacker is a guy I didn't know a lot about. Drake Thomas. I hate to say it, after watching film, I know he's going in his 4th year. He definitely had his best year last year. He didn't really play the first 2 years. I think he's kind of the weak part of this defense. In coverage and honestly against the run too. On film, he just didn't look great. I don't know. We'll see though. Now, Ernest Jones, your right inside linebacker. Ernest Jones, we know that this guy's a dog. Last year, he really took a step forward. His first year in Seattle, so his full year, I should say, in Seattle, I felt that he really took a step forward. I looked at his time in Tennessee, and now I think he really did take that step forward this year. That kind of brought him back to his prime with the Rams. His rookie contract. But yeah, I mean, go Gamecocks, by the way. But yeah, this is a guy that I would definitely trust in the middle of my defense. And I think he is one of the better upside linebackers in the league. And again, I think there's a lot of teams in the league that are like, hey, I wish we had this guy. And I'm so sorry to say this name, but your strong side linebacker, Ushimana Nwosu. Now, this is a guy who did not play a ton last year either. When he did play, he was definitely impactful. I mean, garnering 7 sacks, 35 total tackles, and again, on film, he looked good. This is a guy that creates pressures. I will say sometimes in the run game, he gets a little lost. Definitely not bad at all, and again, I do think teams would really look forward to having him on their roster. Now, this is the part I really wanted to get to, the secondary. We're going to start with Ty Okada. Now, I don't know why. Again, I tried to talk to fans of the teams that we're doing. Now, this is a guy that came into 2025 only playing 9 career games. And I'm sorry that I did not know who this was before, really even after the Super Bowl win. When he was on the field, second half of the year, he played the entire season. Like, this guy was the starting safety. I believe safety. Maybe he was the nickel, but you know what? For him being white, dang, he's good. He's a good safety, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm looking at the film and I'm like, dang, this guy's like, how did I not know who this was? And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who he was until I was talking to Seattle fans. I believe they on TikTok, not Reddit. I don't think anyone responded to me on Reddit this time. But on TikTok, yeah, like, I was very surprised to learn this guy's game, and this is a guy I'm gonna be out on the look for. Coming up this year, I believe he's going into his fourth year. I'm excited to see see how he plays. I know he really hasn't played a ton, but I mean, last year he played in all 17 games, including playoffs as well. I like Ty Okada. In the postseason he did not play a lot. I'm sorry, I was wrong actually, but still, I don't care because why did he not play? Was he hurt? He only logged stats in the divisional and the championship, the divisional, and the Super Bowl. I don't know why. I don't know, but he was definitely good for them this year, and I'm sorry I didn't know your game. Now, across from him, of course, you have Julian Love. Now, Julian Love is he a little older? Yeah, he's a little older than I'd want my starting safety to be, but he's only going into his 8th year in the league. Now, last year he did take a back seat. He only played in 8 games. He needs to stay healthy, but when he was in those 8 games, he honestly did look a little slower than years past. But still, I mean, definitely a serviceable safety. If I were to say, I would say he's a little underrated in the league. I know Seattle had lost a few safeties this year, but honestly, I really do think that their safety room is completely locked up. Like, I don't see anybody challenging Julian Love or Ty Okada's chance, except their nickel linebacker, who in base, I believe it's base, switches over to safety, and Nick Emenwari. Now, wow, what a draft pick Nick Emenwari was. I could sit here for 30 minutes and talk about how great of a pick this was, and I was jealous. I wanted the Eagles to draft him. Again, go Cox. Now, this guy, he didn't play in every game because he was hurt, but of course, in the Super Bowl, he did play through his injury, and he played very well. Now, again, on this season, his stats don't pop off at you, but, like, if you actually watch his film, like, and everybody knows this who watched an ounce of, wow, this hat makes my ears look huge, wants an ounce of any game that he played in for the Seahawks, like, dang, this kid's a baller. Like, he's only 22 at that, going into his 2nd season. A baller. Like, this is a 2nd-round pick. In my opinion, this was the best defensive player in the draft. I believe he came up 2nd in the D-Roy voting. But yeah, I mean, again, I could sit here for literally 20 minutes to talk about how great of a pick that was. So yeah. And then, of course, Devon Witherspoon at your left cornerback. What is there to say about Devon? In my opinion, 100% top 5 corner. See arguments for top 3. I can see, I mean, and again, talking to Seattle fans, Seattle's absolutely in love with this man over JSN. I know JSN's really only had 1 year to be the breakout player, but Devon Witherspoon's always been that guy. I know he's been a dog for them. Again, only played in 12 games last year. There's only played 14. He's only played 1 full season. If he can stay healthy and play every game, I'd also like to see him develop ball skills a little more. Now, I will say he's not targeted as much as other corners are, and so he doesn't really have a chance for the ball. But still, he is a phenomenal corner and lockdown corner at that. I just want to see him get a little more ball skills. But no, he is phenomenal. And in the Super Bowl, he was phenomenal. Every game he played in this year, he was phenomenal. Now, your right quarterback, you get Josh Jobe, which is a little bit of a mix-up from last year. I know they lost a few corners. I know at the beginning of the season last year, Week 1 was their starter until he was eventually benched, which, again, something I did not know until looking at film and talking to Seahawks fans. Now, Josh Jobe, obviously, he had a slow start to his career because he didn't play much in Philadelphia. When he did play, he didn't look great. I mean, he also didn't really get a chance because he was always the backup. But then he gets to Seattle, and his first year, he was very okay. The last year on film, he surprised me. I mean, he's definitely not one of the best corners in the league. And I will say, in the secondary, that is a great secondary. That is the one spot I'd be worried about. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is a phenomenal defense, and it really does carry for the offense. And we saw that this year, and that's not a problem at all, because it's a serviceable offense that can score points for you. Looking at the Seahawks' external additions, it's no one that really jumps off the bell. Emmanuel Wilson and Rodney Thomas II, Dante Fowler. They didn't really add anybody that's like a needle mover. We'll say they did bring back some great players, and Rashid Shaheed on a 3-year deal, Josh Jobe on a 3-year deal, Drake Thomas on a 2-year deal. So, I mean, definitely not the worst free agency. I would have liked to maybe target a wide receiver outside of Rashid Shaheed. Maybe there wasn't really tight ends this year. Maybe they went after Likely. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I will say their offseason, they lost a lot of big players, a lot of defenders that, you know, made up about 2,000 total snaps for them last season. So I know Seahawks fans have been very vocal that they are not worried about losing those players, but I will say that does make them a loser to free agency. But anytime you win a championship, you're going to lose big players like that. That's pretty unavoidable. So, I mean, that's something to scoff at. I'm not going to dock them points for that. But again, we're just going to go straight into the draft from here, and I'm just going to keep in one take. So, I mean, looking at their draft this year, again, I said it, Jadarian Price. I'm absolutely in love with the kid. I think he's going to be great for the league and for the Seahawks in specific. But honestly, outside of Julian Neal, I don't really expect much. And Julian Neal is a corner, for those who don't know. Unless Bud Clark comes in, which was the 2nd-round pick, I think this is kind of a depth draft, in my opinion. Andre Fuller they drafted, which I actually really liked Andre Fuller in the pre-draft process, but again, he's a corner behind a lot of depth. I mean, they drafted 3 in this. They brought in Michael Dansby as well, coming back out of Arizona. That was a very, weirdly enough, defensive-oriented draft. And I don't expect a lot to come of this draft this year. I guess, if anything, this is kind of a, like, just, you know, like, alright, kind of develop, like, Bud Clark is kind of developmental, Julian Neal, Jadarian Price, I feel like, is really going to be the only one that has significant amount of anything to do with this offense. So, yeah, not a great offseason, but you have a championship roster, and you kind of just bolstered it in terms of depth. And I'm not really worried about the pieces they lost. I will say it will kind of be an annoyance to replace those snaps. But honestly, I mean, you lit it up on depth, not the worst that we've seen, but also not the best. So now we're going to go into coaching style. Of course, at your head coach, you have Mike McDaniel, and I actually talked to Ravens fans about this too. They miss him. They wanted him to stay. And it sucks that they lost him, because in my opinion, he's either the best defensive mind in the league or second best. I'm super high on Jesse Minter. I'm sorry. I can't go one video without blazing Jesse Minter. But of course, Mike McDaniel's a great head coach. He really inspires his guys, and of course is one of the best defensive leaders in the league. Now, speaking of that, Aiden Durdry? I don't really know what he does as a defensive coordinator, because you don't really get to see that because Mike McDaniel. But again, if it's his scheme, it's working well. And I know it's not his scheme because I looked at Mike McDaniel's film from Baltimore now, and it's the same. So, like, I mean, his job's pretty safe unless he really F's up and the players hate him, and of course the coaches hate him. Now, the really big one is Brian Fleury. Now, he is obviously their new offensive coordinator, and I don't know how this offense is going to look. Right? That's a big shakeup. Your offensive coordinator just let JSN one of the best wide receivers we've seen. Of course, Sam Darnold had a pretty good year under him, but this is a big shakeup. I think because of this, JSN's going to have a statistical decline. Of course, it's hard to keep up with 1,800 yards, but I don't expect him to repeat that. But I think it's going to be kind of a lackluster year compared to this year, like maybe 1,200, 1,100 yards for him. But I am very excited to see what he does with the run game. I'm hoping Jadarian Price gets the bulk of the carries, especially with Charbonnet dealing with a pretty bad injury in the playoffs, of course. I believe it was a torn ACL. So yeah, now we're going to go into their schedule. Of course, they get to start the season with a home game, obviously, against New England Patriots. Super Bowl rematch week 1, I love to see it. I honestly think that's a 50-50 game. I don't expect the Seahawks to be as dominant. I mean, because that was just the Super Bowl, and that's, bigger stakes, bigger plays are made. But then you get a pretty easy 2 weeks with the Cardinals and Commanders. But then it gets rough, and this is obviously going to be a rough schedule. This is a first place schedule at that, and of course they just won the Super Bowl. So you have the Chargers, the Niners, the Broncos, the Chiefs, the Bears. Now that is a hard stretch of games. I do expect them to win 2 or 3 of them. I really only see maybe the Broncos having. I think the Broncos are a better team, honestly, on paper. Don't sue me for that. But yeah, and then get a little break going into the bye with the Cardinals and Raiders. But then out of your bye week, you do have another pretty rough stretch of games. Niners, playoff team. Cowboys, Giants, Eagles, playoff team. Rams, playoff team. Panthers, playoff team. And Rams, playoff team. Now, Rams is week 18. We'll never know if they're sitting or they're fighting for the division. Well, until it comes, we'll know. So I'll give you a record prediction and ceiling and floor. Straightforward. I think their ceiling is 12-5, and their floor is 10-7. I think they're going to go 11-6. Which, again, I'm sorry to say it, is not enough to win the division. The Rams, I had going 13-4. So that automatic, and I know they're the Super Bowl champions. If they surprise me, they surprise me. I just think the Rams are that much better of a team. But yeah, I think 12 wins is fair, but I'm going to go 11. I'm going to go a little lower. And the reason I say 10-7 is this: compared to last season, and I don't want to take away anything from their Super Bowl win. I don't want to take anything away. This schedule is definitely a lot easier. I don't want to take anything away from that schedule last year that they had. Sorry, that season they had last year. I do think this is a little tougher, but I don't expect them to be bad in any way. And I don't think it is bad at all for them to go, 11-6. They'll probably make playoffs with an 11-6 record. I couldn't imagine them. As of right now, in the NFC, they are technically the 3 seed, but we've only gone through 2 divisions that obviously change. So yeah, they don't win their division, which sucks for Seattle fans, but I do think the Rams will be the better team this year. So thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Spread some love.